Hey everybody, welcome back to Treble. Where today we're going to be talking about Ariana Grande's seventh studio album, Eternal Sunshine. My name is Caesar Voci, your co-host. See, I'm so used to doing a podcast with other people. I'm your host, Caesar Voci, and I'm super excited to talk about this topic because I've been wanting to actually talk about this for a very, very long time. And honestly, this album is so well thought, put out lyrically, sonically, themes. They are so well thought out that I think it's one of Ariana's best albums to date. And unfortunately, the rollout wasn't as like what you expect, right? But it really did solidify her as having one of the best albums of 2024. I think this album is like one of her solid top albums, and I think it can be considered a timeless piece. I really do think it can be considered a timeless piece because I swear I still go back to it and I can listen to it over and over and over, and I do not get sick and tired of listening to this album. It's so freaking good. This album was released actually last year in March of 2024, a year after we got the deluxe version on March 28th of this year. It's been about a little over a month since the release of this album, the deluxe version, and I truly appreciated the deluxe tracks a lot more now than I did like the first couple of weeks, just because I was trying to truly understand why she needed to add deluxe tracks. I honestly didn't think she needed to. I still don't think she needs to, but I'm glad that she did. She wanted to expand more on that universe of the era of Eternal Sunshine and what it can do and all of the amazing things that it can be, great for this era of her and this album of her, because it's truly one of her most personal albums to date. Now, before we get started, I'm going to share with you my favorite albums, my favorite songs of her previous albums. Now, there's been 6 albums she's released. From yours truly, her first album, I love You'll Never Know. I like the lyrics. I love the mid-tempo pop song. It's kind of on the bubbly side. But I think this one's really well thought and put out. Just because of the topic, right? She's talking about someone who didn't appreciate her relationship with her and wasn't good to her. And now he will never know how good he had it. He will never know if it would have ever worked out between them because he never gave that a chance. So I really like the song just based on that. Next is My Everything, her second album. And I love One Last Time. I love the video concept. I love the fact that she had Matt Bennett, which was her co-star from Victorious. And it's a dance pop song. I know David Guetta produced it, but it doesn't have the typical David Guetta drop, dance beat. It's more like relaxed, more chill. I love the fact that she just wants one last time with the person she's with. I think it feels more like an ending of a relationship, and I think just having that one more time thing, one last time feeling, some of us go through that, and I think it connected with a lot of people. And so One Last Time is definitely one of my favorites from that. Next, from Dangerous Woman, I love the song Sometimes. I love Sometimes. I think it's one of her stronger tracks in that whole discography. Now, I know it's very underrated because I've never heard anyone talk about this track. The bridge, guys, the bridge is so beautifully done and amazing that I'm just like, wow, how is this not a single? This should have been a single. The song's about being with someone, being in love with them, wanting to grow a friendship, maybe lead to a marriage. I don't know. And it's just one of those songs that she says, I never think about it sometimes that I'm leaving you, basically. I never think about that, not even sometimes, right? So it's just one of those things that I think we go as humans when we are in relationships. Sometimes when things are not going too well, you do think of that. You do think, hey, is this working out? Or are we gonna make it work? Or am I in the right relationship? So it's just one of those topics that anyone can connect, and we all kind of have those thoughts, right? But I think she does it very beautifully where she's like, not even sometimes I don't think of us breaking up. And so I think that's beautifully done on her part where she says, no, I don't have those thoughts. And I think that's something that we all can learn from her, honestly. Because when you're in a relationship, it should be full force. It shouldn't be like, let me try it out. Because at the end of the day, you really don't want to waste your time going from relationship to relationship to relationship. You want to find your person and eventually grow a life with them and be with them, right? So next is from Sweetener, Breathing. Breathing is that song that lets you inhale, exhale, and just give yourself that grace and peace and that you deserve, because there's so much going on and sometimes you just need to catch your breath. So that, I'll leave it at that. There's a video, there's a single. It was a single, beautifully done. I think that was her best track on that album, honestly, all around. The next song, Seven Rings, is from Thank You Next, and I think this has been the most Ariana closest to kind of like the hip hop sphere, with her vocals, with her delivery, with the cadence, with the way she just singing the verses, right? With the whole kind of like rap vibe. And I love that from her. I love when she does that. And not only her, I love it when other artists do that, because it adds an extra element. And I grew up listening to hip hop. I grew up listening to a lot more of the that type of genre. So when someone in pop world kind of does a little bit of it, I really do enjoy it. But Seven Rings, hands down, one of my favorite tracks from her. I think she delivers it very well. The topic is, you know what? She's telling you who she is. She's telling you, you know what? This means nothing. I have what I have. I'm successful. And sometimes we, even as people who aren't as successful as her, need to hear that. We do need to hear that. We need to vibe with them. We like to listen to those type of songs because it's inspiration. If she can do it, we can do it, right? It may not be in singing or acting, but it can be in other media ways that we can reach that. So I think that gives you a lot of confidence when you listen to a song like that. And then for her final album, before her sixth album, Positions, favorite song from that is honestly Safety Net, featuring Ty Dolla $ign, is definitely my favorite. I think I see it as you being vulnerable. You know, you don't have a safety net. You don't have that layer of like, this relationship's not gonna work. We're gonna make it work. You know, we love each other, and you know what? I am gonna fall. No matter what, even with my face planted on the floor. But I have no safety net, and I'm just gonna give you all my love and everything. And I think that's beautifully done. It was really free written. I think Ty Dolla $ign sounded so amazing on this. And you know what? I actually like him featured a lot better than his own music, to be honest. And he vibes a lot with hip hop, in the hip hop scene and the pop scene and the R&B scene. He really does mesh very well. So props to him. But yeah, those were my favorite songs from her last few albums. Well, not last few albums, all her albums. And go check them out. Really see if you enjoy those, if you have not heard them. If you've heard them, tell me down below. Did you like them? Did you not like them? I really want to hear that. But let's get back to Eternal Sunshine. I think this album is seriously her best album to date when it came to topics, when it came to emotion, when it came to personality. And by personality is like how personal, how vulnerable she was. I believe this is like the most raw we have gotten from her. Like even her writing the songs, I believe she was like a standalone writer on this album, and it all came from her. And you can tell because during this time, I know she was going through a difficult public divorce, and so I think it tied very well to this music. And I think when people go through heartbreak, they do create the best kind of music that they can, because the emotion is very universal. A lot of people can relate to it, and it's just one of those topics that most people in the world do go through, that heartbreak. And I think it was just very, very smart for her to pour in all that, I don't want to say negative energy, but all of that experience, and make an album that she truly shined on. The singles, yes, and I feel like it was very red herring to the sound, because sonically it's like the only really like super upbeat song we get from her. And yeah, I think the marketing was very genius. I did the single cover of her like half her face and just showing that. That was genius because it went kind of viral like all over X. I don't know if it was Twitter back then, but it went all very viral. Other artists like other people created like AIs of other artists like a Nicki, Rihanna, Beyonce, just every other artist, Adele, and it was kind of like a very smart strategic move to do that because once there's a trend like that happens and you more eyes, more people were willing to see the original, right? And so that was one of the singles. The second single, We Can't Be Friends, that came out with the album, I think was very beautiful as well. This is where I understood why she did what she did with the deluxe version. I think if We Can't Be Friends wasn't as successful as it was, I don't think we would have continued and had a deluxe version because the theme around it, where she goes, she's trying to lose the memories, they're erasing your memory in the music video, right? She really, when that came out, and then we're getting like brighter days, right? We got that concept of like more memories and forgetting memories or erasing part of like maybe times of despair and going through all those emotions, negative emotions that you just want to get rid of your mind because you don't want to relive them, right? So I think that success of that song is the reason why we got Brighter Days Ahead with the deluxe version. Because then the third single, The Boy Is Mine, it didn't really make sense visually of her like dressed up. She's trying to like, she was kind of like Catwoman trying to like kill the guy. So it was just, it didn't make sense. It didn't make sense in the storyline of what We Can't Be Friends made. And of course, Yes Anne was more of a, it was more of a shot of a, to the critics because of all the negative press she got during her shooting Wicked and her dating Ethan Slater and all of that. So I think that was the reason why Yes Anne was the single for the first single. And then We Can't Be Friends and The Boy Is Mine. I'm not too sure why The Boy Is Mine was chosen, or I wouldn't have chosen it, to be honest, if I was her or maybe some people around the team. I would have never chosen The Boy Is Mine. I think it's a great like FU song because of the fact that like, hey, he's mine. What are you gonna do about it? No matter what. It's like another type of in the sphere of Yes and, right? You're throwing shots at the press and people who are talking negative about it, negative about your relationship, that you're this, you're that. And so I think that was the idea, but I just would have never chosen that. But let me tell you my top 5 tracks. I truly believe these are the 5 tracks that I think made the album. They made the album so much special, so much better. And I think these were the tracks that stood out the most. And even when I didn't really understand the concept of the whole album, because when it was the initial release, I really didn't like enjoy it. I felt like there was something missing. I felt like something was off. I didn't know why, but eventually, like as I listened to it more, I understood it more. I understood the story behind her lyrics, the story behind her writing, and even like the visuals. I was like, okay, I get this. And it was really something, and it was something that was, and it was something that I really appreciated from her because she really thought out this whole concept of this album. So at number 5, we have The Boy Is Mine. Like I said, I didn't understand the video so well, but I love the song. I also love the remix. The only thing I don't like about the remix, to be honest, is Ariana has no verses. I feel like she should have had her verse in there. Of course, Monica and Brandy took a lot of the initial of the song, and you know those lyrics that they sing, you're like, oh, I can hear Ariana singing this. I know Ariana Grande wrote this, but I wonder why she's not singing it. A lot of them were very direct towards her, like in her relationship with Ethan Slater, and you know, I don't fuck with the fairs, you know, it's the lyric on that, and it's just one of those things that, and it's just one of those topics that you would not maybe want to sing, but if someone else is singing it, like, hey, I'm not the one singing it, she's just part of my craft, right? So I think that was a smart move on her, but I wish she did have a verse in the remix version, because then I would have been like, okay, it's an Ariana Grande song, not a Brandy, and Monica featuring Ariana Grande, to be honest. At number 4, I put Bye. I think Bye, it's so one of those songs that like makes you feel good. Like you makes you feel a little bit free. It makes you feel like, you know what? I'm done with you. You are not who you thought I was or who I thought you were. And it's the end of a relationship, honestly. And it's just one of those songs that you can put in your car. You feel good. You feel like you can finally exhale and enjoy your life. So I really do enjoy Buying. Although it's not as like uplifting as I kind of making it seem. It's just, one of those mid-tempo tracks you can vibe your hand to. Cute lyrics, love the lyrics, and it's just a feel-good song. At number 3, I put Don't Wanna Break Up Again. I think this is one of the most openings, like the first verse when it opens. It's like the most visual, one of the most visual songs that she has. The fact that she's like, you turn up the TV because you don't want to hear me cry. I'm just like, wow. Like, if you're with someone that does that to you, fuck them. Because that no one deserves. That is like one of the most horrific things you can do to someone. Just because of that. Someone is trying to, grow a relationship with you. And you're just over there like, whatever. Turn up the volume. And then they're crying themselves to sleep. And you're just like, who cares about you? Like, that is so not cool. So I honestly think that track is strong. It's solid. You want to go back and forth the relationship and you don't want that. You eventually get to a point where you don't want that anymore. So I think this song is I think this song is just one of her best, honestly. At number 2, for the deluxe version, I put Dandelion. I think Dandelion should have been in another album, to be honest. But it reminds me it could fit within Thank You Next. Just based on the way the song develops over after the sax intro. I think her having like that more of that R&B hip hop type sound within it didn't feel out of place, honestly. It went very well with the album, but it could have been another album as well. But I think Dandelion's beautiful. I think Dandelion's just one of those songs where you feel more sensual. You feel like, you know what? Yes, like I'm with you. I bloom. I'm your dandelion tonight. Like you are you're expressing yourself very sensual without singing those exact words. If I'm making myself clear to you, it's just you feel liberated. You feel nice. You're like, yes, I can be your dandelion, or I bloom at night, and you have that freedom of expression. Plus that saxophone that plays throughout the song, beautiful. And then also, like I said, she has like that R&B hip hop flow that I truly like from her, and it was surprising. It was surprising to hear, but I was so glad that she did that because it just shows you that she's not shy. She's not completely disregarding that, and I really do enjoy that from her. At number 1, I have Supernatural featuring Troye Sivan. Now I chose the remix because of the fact that can relate. I can relate so well. He does say, boy, let's get out of here at this party or something like that, and then you're just like, yeah, I relate to that. I think Supernatural is very beautiful, it reminds me of like the universe. It sounds very like astrological. Like it's just one of those songs that sounds beautiful, and it's you having that supernatural like pulling towards someone. You're starting to like someone, you're flirty with them, you're just like, what is wrong with me? Like I just want to be around them. It gives me that sense whenever I hear to Supernatural, and it's very beautiful. And I think with Troye Sivan being added on the remix, it opens the door for the LGBTQ community to also experience those emotions, because you don't, not to say you don't as part of, because you're just listening to like straight artists, but when a queer someone in the community is featured on it, you're just like, yes, yes, we do need that representation. We do need to hear that it's okay that he's saying, "Hey, boy, let's get out of this party." And well, she also is talking about a boy, but she's talking about a straight relationship. Well, he's talking about a gay relationship, and it's just nice to get that representation overall. But that's my favorite song off the whole project, even the deluxe. And I think Supernatural should have been a single. It should have been a single. And she even said it, the single that got away whenever she was teasing Brighter Days. I honestly think she was right. She should have released that as a single instead of maybe The Boy Is Mine, because it's just a beautiful song. And I think it would have done so well on the charts. As we move forward, this album is amazing. It explores so many different themes, so many different concepts. One of them being like heartbreak, loss, emotional grief. Even though you didn't physically like lost someone, that person's not dead. You're ending a relationship. You're ending the marriage. You're ending a lot of things that you're ending the, not the fantasy. You're ending the dreams, the hopes that you guys had, that you were building a life together. That takes a toll on you. That takes a lot from you. And for her to talk about this so I want to say respectable, because she wasn't trashing him. She didn't say negative things about him. One of the things that I noticed is, I wish that I hated you, right? There's that song where, because it would have been easier to end the relationship, to end the marriage. And I think when you go through a relationship that doesn't have that hate and you guys just kind of fizzle out, I think that's like one of like the worst ways to end a relationship, because that means, one, you didn't give it your all, and two, yes, it is easier to hate the person and be like, I am fucking done. But with her, she didn't hate him. She didn't hate him. Just something happened where it no longer worked, right? They maybe grew up, they evolved, they have different visions of life, they have different wants, needs, and so it's just not matching. And I think that's very hard. And for those people that have experienced that, man, they can really relate to this. I also love the self-reflection, the healing, the rebirth theme, in songs of like Bye, Eternal Sunshine, right? Supernatural, Ordinary Things, like you're healing yourself, you're trying to see if like love is really out there, or if the current relationship you're in, is that something that you really want. And I think that's, sometimes you have to have that self-reflection, and you have to heal from that, and you have to have that rebirth of like, hey, you know what, I don't want this anymore, and I need to end it and continue with life and have a restart, a refresh. And I think that's very powerful when someone comes to that realization for themselves to do that. I also think having the empowerment, doing the having boundaries, confidence themes that she explored here, and also the controlling the narrative and the public persona that people were saying about her, that she was a homewrecker and that she's a cheater and all this stuff, but we don't know what happened behind the scenes, and only her and Ethan know exactly what happened. Do I hope she wasn't that? Yeah. Now, honestly, do we know for sure? Honestly, we don't know. But she's taking it to her own hands, right? She did Yes and as like a FU. She also did the song True Story, right? Where she's controlling the negative, the persona that, you know what, I am not that person. And also The Boy Is Mine, where she also, the remix especially, where she's saying, you know what, no, like I am not the one that did all of that. I'm not the person that you guys are saying the media was saying. It was a very the FU type of songs that explore those. And I think I am just so happy that she did do that, because she's clarifying it. She's giving you like the answer without her speaking directly, like with an interviewer or something like. And I think that's to the person's interpretation to if they really want to accept it or not. But she spoke her piece, what she had to say. That's it. And I think that's very powerful from her to do that for this album. But in closing, I do believe this is one of her stronger albums. I truly do believe. I think she should have gotten a lot more recognition for this album, because at the end of the day, she really put out her heart, her soul, the lyrics, the production. She really did think of everything. I even think the concepts, and if you really pay attention to like the Yes and music video, if you pay attention to We Can't Be Friends, even The Boy Is Mine, if you pay attention, there's a lot of meaning behind all of those. I know when she did her Brighter's Day Inc., if you watch that, it really does shine and show the album as a whole, and maybe like the concept she should have continued with this album if she rolled out more singles. Now, I don't think there's an official single when the deluxe was released, but I think she tied it very well. She tied the whole thing very well, because in the We Can Be Friends single music video, she did that concept of like forgetting that relationship, that boyfriend, right, in Brighter Days Inc. And then eventually with the deluxe release, it expanded more. And now we're getting an older Ariana, you know, as she's an old lady, quote unquote, in the music video, in the movie, I want to say documentary, whatever it's called. And she's older and she's revisiting old memories. She's putting all those, some of the new songs and playing some of the old songs and just giving you that story of what it could have been. So I really do enjoy this album. I really do enjoy this album. I think it's one of her stronger ones. She should really focus on creating more music like this. It's so beautifully done, especially from her, who has different types of ranges, different vocal ranges. She can really sing her heart out, and people are just going to love it. Honestly, I really do think that. All right, everybody, thank you for your time today. I really appreciate it. Like, subscribe. You know, if you're listening to this, don't forget to give it a 5-star rating and give me, you know, a positive review. That would really help me out. Also, share this episode with anyone who loves Ariana Grande or doesn't like Ariana Grande and maybe want to give her a chance. Who knows? I know not everyone loves her like I do. And so this would really truly help me out if you help me in this journey. I'm so excited for the following episodes. The last few that were released have been all recorded way in advance. And so I'm ready to do the weekly recordings. There's a lot of work behind the scenes that still needs to be done. I'm trying to figure out my rhythm, my dates, to see what days I will be posting, where, how I'm going to be posting all of these. And I'm truly super excited for all of this. You guys have no idea. Thank you so much. Love you. Remember, say it loud, because it's only Treble.